What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Take Three Podcast. We're here back off of Week 13, a interesting week. Joe Burrow extends the Bengals win streak over the Chiefs to 3 games. Definitely, we sat here last week and said Mahomes is going to get the job done. Mahomes is going to get the job done. It did come down to a little bit of Harrison Butker's leg. That was a letdown. But I mean, you got to give the Bengals credit, right? We sit back and we talk about the Bills, and it's really the Bengals. 3 straight wins over the Chiefs, 3 straight wins over Reed and Mahomes. That's huge, getting that done. And it's big for them. They're positioning themselves for the playoffs. They look like they're playing great football at the right time. Samaj Perine did his thing. We'll get into it, though, in a little bit. No Joe Mixon was there, but I'm impressed with the Bengals, to be honest. They're picking up steam. Our team as well, man, the Eagles, what a showing. The Titans, they stifled Derrick Henry. I was a little worried going in when you see panels of ESPN people taking all Titans. That was a mistake. They get the job done. They looked great. Jalen Hurts continues to make the stride. Another team in the division, the Cowboys, got him. I go to bed and it's 14-13. I wake up and see 54-19, some wild score. I was like, okay, shit, like NFL football, and we're scoring college football 54 points, but they're impressive. I mean, we'll dive into it as well as the NFC race kind of tightens to what I would call as a 2-horse race. It's debatable, but yeah, I mean, how are you feeling coming off of a week 13, little tough week on the spreads, but yeah, how was the action from this weekend?
Yeah, football wise, a great week 13. We learned a lot. We had some really good matchups. Terrible spread week, did not do so hot betting. At least the Eagles won. That was great. And even though I picked Kansas City, my preseason AFC, one of my favorites was Cincinnati. And now they're starting to look really, really good rounding into form. So like all of a sudden Cincinnati has momentum the last month of the season, just like last year. So it's going to get really interesting in the AFC down the stretch. I'm excited for it.
Yep. If it would let me switch over, let's just jump right into it. Yeah, Burrow and the Bengals, right? Huge game, monumental one for them. Great matchup all the time. They get a big win at home. They defend home field. They improved to 8-4. They now position themselves right in that race, right? They're only 1 game back now from that 1 seed. Having that tiebreaker head-to-head over the Chiefs is big as well. But, I mean, I'm impressed. Joe Burrow is sitting in there finding T. Higgins. It was something that most quarterbacks aren't doing. Most quarterbacks aren't even seeing that open. That's the definition of literally throwing the man open. T. Higgins has really came into his own as well, even with Jamar Chase back. He continues to look like they have 2 number 1s out there, right? He's that good. He has shown no Joe Mixon, as I mentioned. He was out. He should be getting back. It's like I guess a 3-week or 4-week concussion. The Tua thing happens, and guys are missing multiple weeks now for concussions. But I mean, what do you make? The Bengals defend home field. They're positioning themselves well for the playoffs, and they're showing they could be the Chiefs' kryptonite. As weird as it sounds, 3 straight wins over a quarterback as good as Mahomes, a head coach as good as Reed. You got to tip the cap at some point to these guys.
Yeah, all credit to the Cincinnati Bengals. Very impressive win. They should probably be slightly favored in the AFC. I mean, people still really love Buffalo. I haven't been super impressed with them as of late, but they are the 1 seed right now. But like, I still lean Kansas City, but like I really shouldn't. Cincinnati 3-0 against them. Granted, all 3 games have been close. It was a very impressive win. But even then, like Cincinnati had some big errors. They didn't get any points right before half when they went for it on that 4th down play. That was a huge defensive play for the Chiefs. And then Tyler Boyd dropped a touchdown wide open that they had to settle for 3 points. Now, of course, you could turn it around and say, well, Travis Kelce fumbled, but that was a defensive play that the Bengals made. And I'm just thoroughly impressed with the Cincinnati Bengals because Kansas City came in locked in, ready to play for this game. Obviously, they lost the AFC Championship. They lost to them in the season last year. So I felt like they really wanted this win. Patrick Mahomes went on a podcast talking about how Joe Burrow is that guy because he hasn't figured out he's the one he hasn't beaten yet in the NFL. And he went out there and did it again. And it was just a great performance from Joe Burrow, considering that 3rd down pass to seal the deal at the end. Because it was looking like the Chiefs are going to get the ball back with like less than 2 minutes. And that would have been a Patrick Mahomes special too. Right there. Yeah. Ballsy call, impressive. Like they had me standing yelling during that play. Like very impressive performance from the Bengals. And all of a sudden here comes Cincinnati. Like they look like the team to beat right now in the AFC. It is very tight, close race. Don't get me wrong. But like, I like Cincinnati at the beginning of the year and now they're starting to round into form. Plus this was without Joe Mixon. Samaje Perine played great to not take anything away. But like in theory, they get even a little bit better with Joe Mixon. Like this could be a very scary team again.
Yeah, we got 3 good teams up top at the AFC. Yeah, I mean, I got to give credit. Joe Burrow played clean football. He's had some turnover issues in games, but I mean, he was as locked in as the Chiefs were, right? Accounting for 3 touchdowns, 25 of 31. He only got sacked once, so you got to tip the cap to the O-line as well, keeping him upright. But yeah, not the 4th down call. Yeah, pass call to seal the deal. Yeah, that's as ballsy as it gets. I'm surprised Zach Taylor pulls that out of the bag. I mean, that's credit to him, right? He's taken his fair share of licks, and then throughout the playoff run last year, he was pretty impressive back there. But yeah, I mean, I'm impressed with the Bengals. It seems like we now have 3 teams, and it could be the Bengals, right? That I keep saying they could be the Chiefs' kryptonite. I mean, we've seen Josh Allen get over the hump in the regular season, but then can't seem to do it in the postseason. And Joe Burrow, he's now 3 straight against the Chiefs. He's in good spot. The Bengals are in a good spot playing good football. It should get exciting down the stretch for that 1 seed and into the playoffs in the AFC. Let's move it on. Last night, Tom Brady, 13-3, they're down. He leads another comeback. I mean, we have to bring him up, I guess, when they do that. I think it was 56 game-winning drive in the fourth quarter when trailing to Rashad White to seal the deal. I've heard some pass interference grievances as well that kind of set them up to getting to that position. But you got to tip the cap, the GOAT. I mean, he's kind of keeping them around. They're 6-6 in a bad division. What do you make of the Bucs? I've said all along they kind of feel like a team that, depending on the matchup, is going to steal a wild card game and piss some fan base off because of how bad they've looked. But I mean, as long as Tom Brady's back there, them going into a playoff game, they're always going to have a shot. So what do you make of Tom Brady leading them back last night, down 13-3 when it was seemingly they were bagged by Dennis Allen again?
Yeah, pretty impressive last 5 minutes of the game because they were down 16-3 with only 5 minutes, and like Tom Brady did his thing. The defense got to stop. Granted, I kind of feel for Andy Dalton because like he's not playing phenomenally, but he's not playing bad either. He's making some plays, and then there's the other Saints players aren't returning the favor as Taysom Hill gets popped and it turns into an incomplete at the end of the game. So like I kind of feel for him there, but the Bucs just find a way to win. They got it done at the end. It's just like I think you kind of nailed it. I don't think the Bucs are a contender still. They'll probably win the division. They'll get a wild card game, maybe even with a losing record. And do I think they could win a wild card game? They can, depending on the matchup. Right now, it would be Dallas. I think Dallas would win that game, but I'd be very entertained if Tampa Bay somehow figured out a way to win that. But like I think that's really the ceiling for this team. Like I don't think I like this defense a lot, but this offense still has not clicked at all this year. I don't think they're going to. The offensive line, I think the injuries are just a little too much to overcome throughout the entire season. And like I think the limit for this team is a wild card win, like a divisional round appearance. They're just clearly not one of the top 2-3 teams in the NFC. Like I like the Eagles, Cowboys, Niners, and Vikings, probably in that order. And yeah, it's just I wouldn't be surprised if Tampa Bay goes in and wins because they have Tom Brady, but I just don't. They're just not a legitimate contender.
No, they're not. I don't know. On the Saints side, I don't know how you only get Alvin Kamara 14 touches when you have Andy Dalton as your quarterback. That's some questionable stuff, but yeah, I mean the Tom Brady thing is going to go on forever. I would love nothing more than them to beat the Cowboys. I think that'd be hilarious if they match up with the Cowboys and somehow won. I wouldn't bet on it just because they're not that team. They don't really have anything. They don't have any big plays. The O-line, and it is what it is. The run game's so. And then Tom just doesn't seem to be. He doesn't seem willing to sit in there and take hits anymore, right? Any kind of thing, he's getting rid of the ball. But yeah, I mean the Bucs, they're staying alive. Bad division, very lucky it's the division's that bad because if it was the other way, if it was any resemblance of a competitive division, I don't know if we'd even be talking about the Bucs anymore. But Tom Brady's got him to 6-6, so you got to tip the cap on the comeback.
Just one last thing. With all that being said, I don't think anyone's surprised if they go on a run because Tom Brady's quarterback and they just figure out a way to win close games in the playoffs. I'd be pretty disappointed, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility.
For sure. Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. As long as he gets them into the tournament, I wouldn't be shocked if they at least win a wild card game. Put somebody on the brink in the divisional round too, right? It's just that's what Tom Brady brings. He knows how to lock them guys in when it gets to the playoffs. But I don't know. I'm not really sold on Todd Bowles either. But that's a story for another day. I don't know how good of a coach he is. Moving on, NFC race. I mean, I really think now we're down to the top 2, right? People keep talking about the Vikings, and I'm like, well, they've had 2 big swings of these teams that are on the screen and they got their ass beat twice, right? It's like they didn't show up to either game. And with the 49ers, right, Jimmy G's now out, Brock Purdy's going to play quarterback for them, maybe they go out and sign somebody. But it's like, I mean, the scheme worked in mid-game, right? It still worked, but it's like, how many wins are you going to reel off? How many playoff runs are you going to reel off with Brock Purdy? It'll be something to see. But would you also say it's a two-horse race? Or are you still counting like 49ers? It doesn't matter who's out there at quarterback. And the Vikings, can you count on them to show up in a big game against a highly competitive team like one of these two teams in the playoffs?
I do think it's a two-horse race at the top. I think the Eagles and Cowboys have proven that they're the two best teams in the NFC. To your point, they both played the Vikings, and the Vikings got their ass beat. I think if the Vikings get a rematch with either of these teams, they would play much better. I think it'd be a competitive game. It'd be close, but I'd pick Minnesota to lose both of those matchups. And as far as the Niners are concerned, the Niners can beat anybody. But my thing with the Niners, especially with now Jimmy G going down, even when they had Jimmy G, it was, but like even more so now, it's like it feels like everything has to go right for the Niners. Like they can't afford the defense not to show up for like a possession or two. Like they have to be ready to play at all times. Can't really be making mistakes. Like the Niners have the ability to do it, but like their room for error is like so much smaller than these other two teams. The Cowboys, with their defense being phenomenal, their two running backs, maybe they sign Odell to add, because if they add Odell, then they're going to be really dynamic offensively. And then Philly, you see them run for like 300 yards against the Packers, and they followed up by throwing for almost 400. It's like they've shown that they can do it anyway. They've shown that the defense can make stops and stop the run. The secondary is now a little banged up. We'll see what happens, but like they shut down Derrick Henry. So it's like the Eagles and Cowboys have shown that they can win in multiple facets. And like, that's why I would pick them. I wouldn't rule out the Niners or the Vikings, but yeah, I definitely think it's a two-horse race. Like the Cowboys and Eagles look much better than the other teams in the NFC right now.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the Niners' margin for error it's shrunk even more than it already was, right? With Jimmy G, the margin for error was very slim. Now you throw in Brock Purdy or whoever you're going to go out and get. I'm going to assume they're going to roll with him. Sounds like they're going to roll with him. But yeah, the margin for error it's even slimmer, right? They have to have perfect execution on offense. You can't take any dumb penalties. You got to have everything has to be clicking at all cylinders. The defense has to do everything, and that still might not be enough, as you mentioned. Brock Purdy still might not be able to get the job done. Because teams can really sell out on the run game now, because how much does Brock Purdy scare you? I don't think he does at all, to be honest. A team that gets a full week to prepare for him, I guarantee if the Dolphins get a full week, don't fly across the country. That's why it was so big, the flying across the country thing. But that's another story that they would be able to shut it down. And the Vikings as well, right? They've had three big ones this year. Obviously, the two duds against these two teams, and then their one big statement win was honestly, if you play that game 10 times, Buffalo wins 9 of them, right? I mean, how many times is Buffalo going to blow a 27-13 lead at home? It's not going to happen often. So yeah, the Vikings, they're still back there. I saw RG3 tweeting about them. They're 10-2. We got to give them their respect. There's something in one score ball games. And I'm just like, well, what happened when they played the big dogs? They didn't show up. They didn't get the job done. They didn't even look like they should have been on the same field with these two teams. Obviously, I mean, playoff season, you get a whole week, right? You get to prepare. They'll come in locked in, but I'm with you. I don't think they'd beat either of these teams on their home fields. I just don't see it happening. We got two horses at the top, Eagles, Cowboys. I mean, we could potentially get 3 matchups out of them, I mean, we could get a playoff matchup with them, which should be excited. I'm excited for Christmas Eve. It's like 3 weeks out. I mean, we'll really get to see, right? Christmas Eve in Dallas should be a big one. But yeah, I mean, I think the NFC is down to that. It really sucks Trey Lance got hurt, and then it kind of sucks Jimmy G got hurt, because the Jimmy G on the 49ers, they have like a slight chance to do something, make a run, right? They at least have a guy. Brock Purdy it takes them that far back. Let's slide in though. Brock Purdy does it, right? He comes in, Jimmy G broken ankle. Now that we know he's toast, Brock Purdy comes in and doesn't completely collapse, right? You see these guys that don't play much come in and play quarterback, and the game goes straight to shit. He was able to get the job done. The 49ers win 33-17. The Dolphins flying across the country just couldn't get the job done. What do you make of it? Big win for the 49ers, right? I mean, the Dolphins are a highly competitive team. You lose your quarterback, you lose your second quarterback on the year, and to still be able to keep it together, the defense do their thing and secure the win. What do you make of that? And what do you think of it on the Dolphins side of things?
So for the Dolphins, I think they just went up against a very good football team. I don't think they've been tested that many times this year with Tua. There was because even at the earlier start of the season, when they came back against the Ravens, the Raiders, the Bills, those are some kind of crazy circumstances in the fourth quarter. Those weren't like normal conclusions to games. Like if you play those games back, like most likely those results don't happen. The Raiders were crushing them for 3 quarters, and then Miami just came alive. So like this was a really good test for Miami. They didn't do great, and like to that point, I just want to credit how great this Niners defense was. I think they're heading into this game without giving up any points in the second half for like a month in a row, and they were just incredibly impressive. They gave up a 75-yard play at the very start of the game, so 7 points, and then Tyreek Hill got like a 40-yard touchdown in the third quarter, and outside of that, they were held to like nothing. One field goal, lots of punts, a lot of incompletes. And it was really impressive because the way Mike McDaniel's been dialing up this Miami offense with all the speedsters, they've been maybe the best offense in football. They've looked like the best in football at certain times. So like I was very, very impressed with the Niners defensive performance, just really impressive to me. And to the Niners on offense, like Brock Purdy went in, he threw for 200 yards, 1 interception, 2 touchdowns, but he had a pretty good game considering he wasn't expected to play, just came in, didn't miss a beat. There was a few really big third down throws to Deebo Samuel that moved the chains and kept him on the field, which I thought was really impressive. And like, we'll see what Brock Purdy does moving forward, but he had some really good throws. Maybe he has a big arm. I really don't know. I haven't watched him play a lot, but the Niners defense was incredibly impressive. Brock Purdy was impressive considering the circumstances. And now I'm excited because it's going to be a lot of Christian McCaffrey. Elijah Mitchell is on IR. We saw him heavily involved, Debo, Kittle. So it's like, let's see what Kyle Shanahan can do with this offense and Brock Purdy. But the Niners defense like thoroughly impressed me.
Yeah, I did not watch much of Iowa State football either, so I have no clue on the Brock Purdy background. But yeah, I mean, you tip the cap. A guy comes in, as I said at the right at the start of this, is that you don't expect them to hold the glue together, especially not against a playoff team like the Dolphins, right? You expect, okay, shit, it's over. He's going to throw some interceptions, and the Dolphins will win this thing and ride off. And he held the ship together. I mean, the good thing for them going forward, and that's why we do, or at least, well, both of us will be in agreement that we keep a glimmer of hope for the 49ers team, is because they have Kyle Shanahan calling plays, and he has everything around him, right? The weapons around him are immaculate. If the defense can keep playing like that, the 49ers do have a shot. And then for the Dolphins, I mean, yeah, when you go across the country, you're missing your 2 tackles, that hurts. And then Tua doesn't exactly play up to the standard, 18 to 33, 295. He threw 2 picks, 2 touchdowns, but 2 picks is costly when you're missing 2 linemen on an already bad O-line. It's just, you kind of, their margin for error, as good as they are, if you're missing 2 offensive linemen, especially your 2 tackles, one that you gave $80-something million, so you kind of, your margin for error shrinks as well on the road against a defense like that. So yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how the Dolphins bounce back. Hopefully they get healthy. Austin Jackson, I believe, could be out for an extended time. They need Teron Armstead back. That's why they brought him in to play that left tackle spot, and they need to once again find a run game. Jeff Wilson had it going for a little bit, but this week Raheem Mostert 7 carries, 30 yards, and they got nothing out of Jeff Wilson. So I still think they need to find the run game a little bit.
This could be a good loss for Miami if they bounce back correctly, just considering they still have a matchup with the Bills. The division's still on the board. They still have done a lot of great things. It's like, and there was a lot of outliers, like the injuries, and then Tua was due for a bad game. So like, it's just one. So like, there's a lot of reasons to still be very optimistic for Miami.
Exactly. Yeah. 19 QBR. We'll see how it goes going forward. But yeah, I mean, it could be a humbling loss. They get the Chargers next week and just look to rebound and get things back going for Miami and Mike McDaniel. The offense, I mean, the explosion was there, and then Tyreek still did his thing. They seem to clean it up. You can't turn the ball over with 2 is really the big thing, right? You're known for your accuracy. You don't want to be accurate to the other team. Let's move on. Last thing on the docket, you got to tip the cap. I sat up here last week on the Week 13 preview and said, I'm all over the Patriots. I love this spot for Bill Belichick. It's a great spot for Bill Belichick. And then I sat there Thursday morning at work and I said, dude, Bill Belichick hasn't been able to solve Josh Allen. Like, I mean, we saw one wind game, right? Some crazy 30-mile-an-hour wind game where they threw the ball 3 times, where they stifled Josh Allen. Really, the conditions stifled everybody. And but other than that, I mean, Josh Allen's kind of had his way with Bill Belichick as of late. So I switched it up. You'll see on the next slide. I ended up going Bills -3.5. Just the gut switched in the morning, and he continues his domination. It was a big win, 24-10, kind of shut down what the Patriots had going. They were hoping to get a big division W, get them to 7-5 on the year. They fall to 6-6. Bills move up to 9-3. With the Chiefs loss, they are also now the They're sole first in the AFC. That's a big one for them. We keep mentioning how badly they need the 1 seed in the AFC to go through Buffalo rather than the Chiefs or even the Bengals would need it, I would say. But yeah, I mean, what do you make of Josh Allen getting it done against the Pats again? And any thoughts on the Thursday morning flip up from from me after coming on here and hyping up the Patriots?
Unbelievable. He did the flip flop. I actually wanted to flip flop a little bit myself, but I said, no, I wrote the Patriots. I'll take the L. But in all seriousness, it was a great win for the Bills. You're right. Bill Belichick has no answer for Josh Allen. He continues to just kind of crush the Patriots, and the Bills needed a really good win. They needed to get a good divisional win because they've struggled in the division this year, and they just need to get right because I think they've have not played up to their standard the last few weeks. So that's good for the Bills, something to build on. And I think you nailed it with the home field advantage. Buffalo needs it way more than Kansas City or Cincinnati in my eyes, simply because they have not been able to do it yet. So a big win for Buffalo. But to me, it's like more on New England. Like, I don't expect him to slow down Josh Allen. I don't think you can really. Like, he goes against anyone, he's going to do what he does. But like, to me, the Patriots offense is just a mess. Matt Patricia calling plays. They went into the year with no offensive coordinator. Like, I don't think anyone was real confident in that situation. They looked abysmal on offense outside of a few plays. I think it was the cornerback that got a big play at the start of the game, and then he ended up leading the team in receiving yards. It's just a mess offensively for New England. Tom Brady's not quarterback anymore. They don't have Josh McDaniels as offensive coordinator. They got to figure it out, because I think that's the biggest issue for the Patriots is like that offense, and the play calling was atrocious. And I don't think Matt Patricia exactly has the best track record offensively to where we can justify him continuing to call plays for the Patriots. It was not a good performance. And I think it kind of shows the reality of this Patriots team. The defense is still very good, but I think they're farther away than they are closer. Cause like all of a sudden the Jets are really good. Miami's really good. The Bills are obviously the Bills right now. I think because they kind of had a softer schedule, I think New England is closer to being this team than a winning team. So like they just have a lot to figure out offensively.
Yeah, the Patriots aren't it, dude. They spent a ton of money last year and everybody was like hyped up Patriots. And then it was like they never really figured out how to use the 2 tight ends that they spent X amount of dollars on. Their guys out wide aren't really anything to go crazy about. Tyquan Thornton's not really it. Jacoby Myers had a nice year, but nobody's afraid of Jacoby Myers, let's be honest. And Nelson Aguilar, you got the Devontae Parkers, the Kendrick Ward. I mean, it's like the Goodwill clearance rack guys that you're just pulling dudes out, right? It's nobody scares you. I mean, Ramondre Stevenson's probably the best thing they have on offense, right? And he can only take you so far. So yeah, I mean, I agree with that completely. The Patriots offense, I don't think it's what everybody thought when they went out, got the 2 tight ends, paid them all that money. They haven't really found a way to use them correctly. And it kind of all relies on Steve Belichick and Bill Belichick's defense. And when you do that against somebody like Josh Allen, you're probably not going to score enough points to keep up. And yeah, I mean, Josh Allen, they do their thing. It's a big one. They're getting production out of the running backs, both Singletary and James Cook, finding ways, right? So it's not all Josh Allen. It doesn't have to be he leads the team in rushing. He does everything. As much as the offense still rolls through number 17, it's good to see them kind of have other options out there. And then it's without Von Miller. It's a big win going on the road, divisional W. Without Von Miller, we don't know how long he's going to be out. It kind of eliminates the Odell thing. They were rumored to get Odell. I mean, that would have been a big one for them to add, right? Have him, Stephon Diggs, Isaiah McKenzie, Gabe Davis. That would add a weapon to them. Probably not getting him because he's hanging out with Cowboys guys and going to Mavericks, Phoenix Suns games. So you probably lost out on that. But big win for Buffalo. They definitely need the AFC to roll through that stadium in Orchard Park. But yeah, I mean, I like it. They got to get right, got to play clean football. They played clean football. Josh Allen didn't try to play hero ball. That's the key. 17 can't play hero ball. Just do your thing, right? You're damn good. We know what you can do, but don't try to do too much. Moving on. Week 13 spread picks. I can't say enough about the Ravens. They are disappointing, just as disappointing as the Broncos. Even with Lamar out there prior to the Lamar injury, they were disappointing, and they did it. 8-point favorites, unbelievable work. They're by them dudes. Jags. I mean, I get spun up. And then, I mean, I think both of us are in agreement. The Bears is the slap in the face. Anybody that leads like 19-10, I said that's a lock. Like, great pick, dude. The Packers really suck. was like, let's go. And then I look back and it's 28-19. They let up 18 straight points in the fourth quarter. Abysmal. Probably would have fired Eberflus right there on the spot if it was me. But yeah, I mean, any other games that caught your eye this week and any picks that you're particularly upset outside of that Bears one?
Outside of the Bears, no, dude, it was all Bears. I felt good about the Bears. The Packers aren't very good. The Bears were finally going to beat Green Bay, you know. It's been a while. They were going to finally get a good win against Green Bay, and they choked it away. That was bad. They had no business losing that game. And then the other one for me is the Ravens, like the two that you said. I just feel for Lamar. Like he's going to be out for like maybe a full month. And I just hope it doesn't affect his contract. I'm just rooting for the guy to get paid. He deserves to get paid. If anything, I would love for like a team like the Jets to just give him a stupid amount of money and then watch them roll. But I think Baltimore can still franchise tag him. So I think he'll be in Baltimore no matter what. And then let the record show you beat me by one pick, which could have been a flip-flop pick, but well done.
Hey, you gotta wake up Thursdays and kind of have that feeling, you know. I mean, got that feeling, got to make a call in. Yeah, I mean, Jets, I kind of rode with the Mike White shit. They played competitive, right? 27-22 lost. It was funny seeing the chatter with DJ Reed and Justin Jefferson go back and forth. That was funny on Twitter. And yeah, the Ravens, I mean, it is tough to see Lamar go out. Luckily, it's not a major injury. I don't think it does anything to his free agency. If the Ravens don't want to pay up or give him anything, there's plenty of teams out there. Jets, the Lions, if they could get a shot. There's a lot of teams out there that would be willing to give that man enough money. And yes, I think he has no issues with the free agency thing. And yeah, the Bears, I mean, they were that close to beating Aaron Rodgers, and they once again hand Aaron Rodgers a W. It's just, yeah, it's embarrassing. That's all I can say. Some pathetic stuff. The Cowboys, they were dicey too. There was a point where I was like, dude, Cowboys 10.5, what a stupid ass decision. And then they scored like 30 in the fourth. And I was like, I woke up and was like, what a great decision. And Saints +4 as well. Dennis Allen, for some reason, always plays Tom tough. And we just kind of know what the Bucs are on offense right now. There was always going to be a close game. But anything else before we wrap up and prepare for Week 14 as we really get into the playoff stretch of things?
Well, one last comment, because like if I were to flip it though for the Bears, like Green Bay, we talk about Green Bay getting a perfect opportunity to play Jordan Love and figure some things out, and instead they put Aaron Rodgers back in, squeaked out a win, and they're going to be delusional and try and win out to get 9 wins and hope they can sneak in. I just think that's such a bad decision in the long term for them. So yep. I don't know. It's just kind of funny to see because we specifically said it'd be foolish, and that's exactly what they did.
Yeah, I mean, shit. Giving Aaron Rodgers $150 million with no wide receivers is a stupid decision. So they're kind of all in. But I did hear they're going to sit down with Aaron Rodgers and discuss the future after the season. Apparently, they have some outs. There's a way to get out. So I mean, I'd love to see it. But yeah, I mean, they're not making smart moves. I would have loved to see Jordan Love play. And yeah, see what he has, right? I was impressed against the Eagles on short notice. I would have loved to see what he could have done against the Bears with a full week of prep. But I mean, that's going to be a wrap for this episode. Thank you for listening. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Drop any feedback below in the comments or add us on Twitter at Take3Sports. Spotify link will be in the description if you're an audio-only listener. And we will be back tomorrow to jump into Week 14 and see what that slate looks as we get closer and closer to the playoffs.